Yep. Yep. Here we are. Taco Tuesday number 11 with the Epic Beard and Dave. We've done a bunch of these, but we started putting a number on them back in middle of 2018. And we're up to 11 now. Well, not the middle, maybe toward the end. Anyways, it's a beautiful day. It's supposed to be getting cooler later this week, which we don't mind at this point. It's still spring. The days are pleasant and mildly warm, and the evenings are cool and mildly cold. This is California. So let's go boop. And here I am. Or here we are. The Epic Beard and Dave. It's been a wonderful day. I think today I want to talk about, we're going to get political, and we're going to talk about the state of California and elections, and especially the upcoming 2020 election. So many candidates on the Democratic side, so many of them female. You sort of wonder if there's way too many or not. We're trying to do something different, just in case the audio is a little wonky for some. We're doing this with our headset on, our phone headset, because it puts a microphone up near me speaking hole. The Edie Philly Kissy speaky hole. But we're that's one thing. I mean, and of course some of the worst of the candidates, like Fakeahanas, are calling for the end of the Electoral College. If that's what you got to do to win, I mean, really, seriously, if that's what you got to do to win, it's sad enough that when I look at a campaign form or a ballot, how little my vote counts. How little. I mean, in the presidential, no matter who I vote for, unless it's a Democrat, one of the popular Democrats, it doesn't count. It just doesn't count. I mean, California, especially Southern California, Orange County, Riverside, LA, and whatnot, voted for Hillary, and the state went for Hillary. It's a good thing we don't have a senator running, because that means no Democrats can run for senator. In the last two elections, when we went to replace Barbara Boxer and tried to replace Senator Feinstein, or Feinstein, however you want to look at it, we had, the only other choice was a Democrat. So there's only one political party pretty much represented here. I mean, I don't know if I talked about this. I think I maybe brought this up. Here in Orange County, we just had an election for a special election for a county supervisor, and there were 5 or 6 candidates. One was a Democrat. One was Loretta Sanchez, and the rest were, I guess, Republicans. And the thing is it was a miracle, to be quite honest with you. It was a miracle a Republican won. I mean, the way the vote would have been divided up amongst them with the other candidates, and then it could have physically made it possible for Sanchez to win that. You know, it just and that's based on a political party, and to me that's not representing the people, and it's not representing the state. It's not representing anyone else but those Democrats. So, but weird enough that a Republican won. It's amazing. We need to repeal the proposition that changed the primary laws in this state. That way, other parties can have a fair and equal representation on the ballot. Makes you wonder if Feinstein would have won had there not been another Democrat running against her who got more votes in the primary but didn't in the election. So, but he did a pretty good job of taking votes from her. So that could have, with a Republican candidate and maybe an independent or whatnot in there, that could have changed a lot of things. A lot, like a libertarian or whatever. That could have changed that whole election. But you know, it's starting to come pretty positive, or pretty well known that our votes really are being manipulated and taken from some and to benefit others. You know, this whole removal of the electoral college that Pocahontas wants, or I'm not an Indian, or you're not an Indian. I don't know if anyone remembers the show Dinosaurs. You're not them. Well, that, you know, all you got to do is look at the maps, and you got to look at the population, and you know, 63 million. Each party got over 63 million. I think there's a few 100,000 that voted more votes for Hillary. But out of an equal balance of votes, because of the Electoral College, she wasn't able to win. Because a huge part of the center of this country, didn't like her, didn't want her. And I don't want to hear that it was sexist or misogynistic or racist or whatnot. Those states with only no more than three or no less than 3 Electoral College votes didn't want her. And they added up. That meant California, Texas, New York, and Pennsylvania or whatever, Massachusetts, couldn't choose the president. And if you look at the population, if you look at the number of the Electoral College votes, and even in California, the real push, the real blue that pushed all our 55 electoral votes toward Clinton were here in Orange County and Riverside and LA County and up in San Francisco.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can go ahead and take that. And
any more chips?
no, we're fine. We're fine. No, leave the chips. They're the ones swaying the state. Okay? And if you know how the Electoral College system works, that's pretty incredible, because a lot of those votes weren't in those counties. in sections of the state. I mean, we get 2 for each senator, and we get the rest based on the number of seats we have in the House. So that's spread out through the whole state. So counties or areas that didn't vote for Clinton, their electoral college vote went for Clinton. And that's pretty messed up. To me, that's pretty messed up. Call blocked, potential spam. You know, that's another thing. I've been getting a bunch of calls, and so I've had to go through my blocked file and start blocking a bunch of numbers. And now I don't even really hear them. I get a little message like that if I'm even looking at the phone. And that's what's wrong. But I'm going to tell anyone and everyone, no matter what, always vote. You don't have just, I realize, your choice in president may not be the popular one, and your vote really kind of doesn't matter there, and in some other spaces. But there's your local seats, state and federal. There's the propositions, which I hope everyone will thoroughly read and try to understand what's going on, decode some of what's in the voter pamphlet. I think those are worded and written to sort of misrepresent or deceive you. But really look at it. Don't mess with it. Those people hold it. Those matter. They affect you further down the road. Like if you don't vote, you end up with a primary system like we have now. You end up with deregulating electricity or power generation, and which opens the door for Enron and others to come in and bankrupt themselves and create a fake power shortage and raise rates and really just like booger up our whole system. I find it very, very hard that people don't even get into that they had a recall because of it, and yet most of them that were recalling, even I think the guy that put the recall together pushed for that proposition to pass. Under the guise that, we'll deregulate and it'll make it more competitive and it'll bring down the rates, and all it had just the opposite effect. We had power shortages, and now we have much, 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 much higher rates. So bullshit. And I'm not going to tell you that Democrats are better than the Republicans. There's some career politicians out there that are just after it for the money. We can get those guys ID'd and out, then fine. We'll get some decent people in. But, that takes time, and we got to figure them out. And they have such a political machine behind them that they can manipulate and lie to you. It's just so messed up. We got some real problems in this country, and we need to address those. We don't need Schumers and Pelosi's, and we don't need a lot of them. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I voted for Trump because I couldn't vote for Satan's mommy, and I just couldn't do it, even though I knew that my state would. Let me tag you, Todd. That I just couldn't do it. And not that I like Trump or I love Trump or worship Trump. I think he's been better for the country than the alternative was. I think I got a feeling, I believe he will get reelected. We'll see. We'll see now that in one way he's been exonerated. Quite frankly, now I'll go with some of those crazy ass Dems and some of the others. I would love to see the full Mueller report released. I would like to read it myself. But even that has been a political gangbang. I mean, Mueller released it, but there was no further indictments, but with a back of the hand statement that he's not gonna, it doesn't really mean that he's exonerating Trump, but there's no evidence of collusion. It's going to be interesting. Are we going to investigate it further and look at everyone else on the other side of the coin? That would be the best damn thing for it. We'll look at the Democratic National Committee. Was it Weiserman and others? Hillary. So, how you doing? Got some people coming up. But that's just my opinion. It's always my opinion. That should always be stressed. You may not feel that way. You may not see that way. You may have other information or facts that I haven't seen or looked at yet, all the facts that I have questioned. I just don't accept a lot of this blindly. But our biggest problem is, it was Mark Twain that said it: love your country, but don't trust your government. And he was right. And in this case, he's even righter than right. We need to grab some of these young people or whatever, these millennials or these high school students by the neck and shake the socialism right out of them. Shake them back into being those honest, good citizens that believe in our republic and the Constitution. Plain and simple. Ooh, an American flag. I wonder who this is. That just stepped on. And don't let... I'll tell you what. There's a new tactic that my son brought up that I screamed at him over it. I was really so upset about it. But that we've always been socialists. We have a police force, we have a fire department, we have a lot of things. And I said, well, I'm thinking, no, what you have is, at the time this came to fruition, was good government. You had and that was the point of the Constitution. If you look back and you do some reading and whatever, at like causes of death or whatever during the last few centuries and into the first half, about the first half of the last one, you will find out that a lot of people suffered from waterborne intestinal disease, like cholera and dysentery and things like that. So, to put it as crudely and as rudely as I can to shock you into this, is people were shitting themselves to death. Diarrhea was running amok because of what? Bad water. Okay, unclean water. And a national movement or the state and local governments, the counties or whatever, went forth and started putting together water treatment and water purification and making or bringing the people safe, drinkable, potable water that was free of these diseases. And there you have it. That is not socialism. That is good government. If to protect your people, as the Constitution clearly states in its opening paragraph, that you need to put together a police force or a group of people to help cover and protect the individuals and take care of crime, then that's not socialism. That's good government. It's the same with the fire department. You don't want your towns burning down every summer or every dry spell or now and then, you know. Maybe you should keep candles or lanterns away from cows, and especially Mrs. O'Leary, and Chicago won't burn. And that way we can have those cities like San Francisco and Chicago and New York and Boston, because we know that should something happen, there are people out there with the proper equipment to abate and stop a fire from ripping through the entire town or city or village or whatnot. And that's not socialism. That's good government. That is people doing their job and holding to their oath of the Constitution they swore to protect and serve. And it's just plain and simple. So when one of these socialist, leftist, commie whatevers want to tell you all about how we've always been socialism, just piss on them. Literally, seriously. Whip it out and water them down. I mean, it's just... Ugh. It irritates my bowel. That's what it does. But you know, this is the way of the world. This is what we're going after, and this is what we're trying to do. And people need this. We need to bring back the Constitution. We need to hold our elected officials' feet to the fire on it. And we don't need to just do that. You know, it's not just that. We also need to go and burn out or round up those college professors and those educational institutions that don't teach it, don't teach you your rights, don't teach you the meaning of the true meaning of the Constitution, and what it really is. It's not a living document. Scalia was right. It's just a legal document. As a matter of fact, it is the oldest enforced legal document, or oldest legal document being enforced in the world today. Okay? It's over 200 years old. So, don't give me that shit. Don't tell me about, you know, a black man is 3/5 of a person. And other shit like that. Don't let somebody from another country... I saw an interview with Jordan Peterson. He was in England or whatever, and his British interviewer was. And she whipped out the Constitution. He was talking about his stand on the speech law in Canada, and this woman whips out the U.S. Constitution and starts to say, well, women were this or that. He goes, bullshit. For one, he's from Canada. He's talking about a Canadian law. He's not talking about American law. And two, you do not know what the Constitution says, obviously. You've been just given your liberal, socialist, communist rhetoric and you're helping to promote the lie. So screw you. Anyways, I think I've said my piece. I want you all to cheer up, stand up. I want you to vote when we have to vote. I want you to get your opinions out. I want you to do what you can to see that our country is followed to by the law. If Trump is not following the Constitution, if Trump is breaking the law, then we should do something about it. But we should also be doing that if Pelosi and Schumer and some of these others are doing the same as well. I mean, it's all of them. I mean, Jesse Smollett. Did you see that today in the news? All the charges are dropped by this one DA or prosecutor or whatever in Chicago. Hell, even Emmanuel, whatever, Raul Emanuel or whatever, the mayor of Chicago, is upset about it. And I mean, you know, he's a leader. Anyways, I gotta go. It's late. I'm tired. And I'm having at you. So we're finished. Enjoy your day. Let's hear it. God bless Taco Tuesday. Good night.